Hey guys, Snupy here, and in today's video, I'm finally going to be making the gear guide for Freehold for 8.3. It's kind of a long time coming, as the season is getting kind of close to the end. So yeah, I'm going to be going over each slot of gear and the pieces I suggest getting there. Then I'm going to be talking about the Azerite Traits, and then finally, corruptions. I'm going to be putting timestamps in the description if you want to skip to a certain part. So yeah, let's dive into it. Okay, so starting off, I just want to say that I might be missing some pieces here, as you can use pretty much any haste verse or master verse items. They're all good, and they will do the job. You just want to kind of aim to have more verse and main stat than off stat, as Freehold is kind of squishy, so without good verse, going to kind of flop very fast. So yeah, definitely try to get as much verse and main stat as possible. And now into my recommendations for items. Okay, so for hands, I've written down 3 pieces of gear here. We got the ones from Workshop, from Freehold, and from PvP. The ones from Workshop are probably the best ones. If you can get them in 475 from weekly chest, then you're hard chilling. That's a big pog. If you can't, I would say go for the leather ones from PvP. The verse master ones. They have a lot more mastery than verse, but they're still pretty damn good, and especially if you get them in 475. And the shark head grips from Freehold are also really good. They have a bit more verse than the ones from PvP. So again, if you can get them in 475, then it's really, really insane. Even 465 is really good. If you get lucky. But yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to. Which kind of sucks about this expansion is that the chance of getting this gear in 475 from weekly is so low. But if you get it, you know, that's good. Okay, now on to belt. So for belt, we got Grasp of the Insatiable Maw. I'm not going to read these names because I'm just going to get them wrong. But they're going to be up on the screen, so that's fine. But yeah, that belt is from Horrific Vision. That's the one I'm using. It is pretty much the same amount of Versa Master, which is really good. And yeah, they're solid. You can get them 470. That is optimal. And then we also have the waistband from Freehold, which I would say if you get that one in 475 is probably a little bit better. But again, the chance of that is very, very small. But if you do, then there you go. So for legs, we got leatherworking legs, which are really, okay, not easy to get, but you'll get them if you just make enough of them. And they're really good because they can have like really, really high verse on them. For example, mine have 236 verse and only 94 haste, so they're very strong. But there are other options too. For example, from Temple, you can get the these leggings of the Gale Force Wiper. I probably fucked that name up again, but yeah, they're really good. They have like quite high verse, and are definitely a good piece of gear. And then you also have the legs from Raffian on Mythic. They're 475. They have a lot more mastery than verse, but they're still good, and are definitely viable to use. Yeah, that is legs. And now onto feet. All right, so now onto feet. So here we actually have the best item in the slot dropping from PvP, which is quite refreshing. I really wish it was like this for every single piece of gear or every single slot of gear. But you know, one can dream. And yeah, they're really good. High verse. Easy to get. It's not easy to get them in 475, I guess, depending on your rating. But even 470, 465 is still good. Still decent. So yeah. There are other options too from King's Rest, Todagor. You can get haste verse boots and stuff. But yeah, definitely aim to get the ones from PvP. As they're solid and fairly easy to get. So yeah. Alright, so now onto rings. So rings are actually really important. And I see a lot of like low-rated Freeholders that are using the wrong rings. And it's really holding them back. As rings have a lot of stats, so having the right rings is pretty huge. So for rings, the best one you can get pretty much is Overseer's La Seal. It drops from Todagor and has a lot of verse and then offset mastery. It's a very solid option. But you also have other ones. It's kind of hard to get this one in 475. You know, it's just like the 1 out of 100 weekly RNG. So it's pretty impossible. But if you can't get that one, there's still other rings you can get. You can get the Void Etched Band from Shadhar, the Jade Ring from Temple, and even the Haste Verse Ring from PP is really good, as it has a lot of verse. And Haste is not a bad stat. especially if you're playing more Gushing Wounds, then having pretty high haste can pay off with Gushing proccing more. But yeah, definitely make sure you have the right rings, please, because I see some Feral Druids that are like kind of hard stuck, low ratings, and I do think getting the right rings would actually help them out quite a bit. So yeah, now on to trinkets. All right, so moving on to trinkets now. So here we have two pretty big ones that are quite infamous. It's Bike and Dressed that do a lot of burst damage. They're nice to have for sure, especially if you get them in like 475. Personally, I only have them 460 and 465 now, but maybe one day, dude. But yeah, so they're really good. Big burst will definitely help you gain some rating. But if you don't have both or only have one, wait, if you don't have any or just one, you can also play Insignia and Badge, which are really good options. Gives you nice Versa, has good agility on use and proc. And then also Maledict is quite good sometimes. Into Warlocks, Elite Shamans, DKs. It can help score the kill. And yeah. Okay, so also you can also play Emblem and Safeguard sometimes. It can be pretty good. Even Spite if you want to do some cheesy shit with that. I don't know. Actually, Spiting as a Feral Druid, I don't know about that one actually. But yeah. You can use most trinkets to kind of get away with it to some degree. But definitely having Bike and Dress is nice. And then Insignia and Badge are the ones that I recommend the most. And now on to weapons. Okay, so for the weapon, we have probably like the biggest no-brainer pick of all the gear. And it's Ansigra from Mount. It has pretty much like the best case scenario when it comes to stats. It has main set verse and offset mastery. While it's fairly easy to get in 475-2, as you can pug the first 3 bosses on Mythic. While the corruption is also insane. As Gushing and Verse got nerfed, this one never got nerfed. And it's pretty much like the best corruption, I think. Alongside Verse and Gushing still, but yeah. Definitely a very good corruption, very good weapon overall, and you should pick it up if you can. Mythic or Heroic will do the job. But if you for some reason cannot get them, or just don't get it, you can also go for Blight Reaper from Waycrest, or even the Haste Verse weapon from PvP. Like, if you play like almost full Gush and you have Haste Verse weapon, like it's gonna work just fine. But yeah, definitely try to get the Mount weapon though, as it's nice to have and fairly easy to get. Now onto the wrist. So for wrist, it's kind of like the same situation as feet, as the best one is from PvP. So I just recommend picking this one up. Pretty easy to get to. But if you don't have this one, or you don't want to get it, I guess, you can go for the ones from Visions, which are Versa Mastery. Or even the ones from Shrine, which are also Versa Mastery. They all have pretty good verse on them, so they're all good. But yeah, PvP ones are the best ones, and you should probably just pick those up. Okay, so when it comes to Azerite Traits, you can definitely experiment quite a bit. I'm just going to recommend what I'm playing and what a lot of other Ferals are also playing. Even though there are very hybrid Ferals who play other stuff too. But yeah, so what I play is 3 Iron Jaws, 2 Masterful Instincts, and 1 Jungle Fury. Like this, I usually play. Then sometimes too, I play 3 Instincts, 2 Jaws, and 1 Jungle Fury. So again, you kind of mix and match here. But I'm going to recommend the pieces I have, which is the Leather Helm from PvP, the Leather Shoulder Guards, and then the Gore Splattered Vest, and Blighted Tribe for the chest, depending on if you want to have 3 Instincts or 3 Jaws. Again, there are Ferals that play like more Jungle Furies or more Instincts or whatever. Many mixes and matches you can do with different things, which will work just fine. But yeah, that's what I play. And now we're going over corruptions, which should be interesting, as there's a bit to it, and there's not really a clear-cut answer on what's the best either. But yeah, let's dive into it. Okay, so now on to the final part of the video, which is talking about the best corruptions for Feral Druids. Before I kind of dive into though, I just want to say that there are different Feral Druids at high ratings that play different things. As I don't think it's like clear-cut what's the best, and I don't think one thing is better always either. It's kind of situational. But yeah, let's dive into though. So the first corruption I want to mention is just, again, Ansigra, or Devour Vitality, I guess it's called. It's really good. Insane. Easy to get. Get it. Play it. It's really good. But yeah, except for this one, we're going to be talking about Gushing versus Versatility. Okay, so now on to Versa Amps versus Gushing Wounds. Personally, right now, I'm actually playing 5 Versa Amps, 1 Gushing, and Mount Weapon. I do want to start using more Gushing, though, and I think having 2-3 Gushings is probably the sweet spot, or even 4. So I'm going to aim to get maybe 2 Versa Amps and 4 Gushings. I don't know exactly like when we can do that when it comes to the resistance, but that should be kind of soon. Maybe even we can right now, actually. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I think a mix is the way to go. As if you're full Gush, you might be squishy. If you're full Versa, you might be lacking some damage. Some sustained damage. So having just that mix, I think, is the way to go about it. Even though, you know, you can probably get away with full Gush. You can get away with full Verse. Both are really good. So you can kind of play whatever you want to be honest. If you feel like doing 20% Gush damage, you can go all in on the Gushing. But I do recommend having some Versa. You see right now my Versa is on 42%, which is pretty damn high. It's 36 in Arena, which is still pretty good. But yeah. So a mix, I recommend. But you can also experiment with full Gush, with full Verse. I think having 2 sets is optimal. But having 2 sets is kind of rough, especially now like in the way got a gear. So unless you play WoW all day, that's probably not doable. So I say just go a good mix, and you'll be good. You'll be fine. 2 Verse, 4 Gushing, 3 Verse, 3 Gushing, whatever you want to do, plus Mount Weapon. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe if you liked the video, and I'll see you around.
Can't let you go.